Okay, quick test bench update. I've got my distribution panel installed. Focus, you fuck. It's an RV sub panel. So I've got my 250 volt breaker. Now I've swapped it out from the 50 to a 20. And I've got a 32 for the 120 30 amp. That's, European size. 20 for then my GFCI. But this, even though it's a 50 amp plug, I couldn't find a 20 amp outlet that fit the hole correctly, so I just went and did a 50 amp plug, 50 amp outlet, 20 amp breaker. Good enough. 12 gauge. That only feeds the high voltage power supply. It's the only thing that runs off of. There is a output fuse for 1 amp, 5,000 volt. And then the high voltage runs out of this, which is still a temporary box. So right now it's just holes. There's no glands. The metal case I'm supposed to be getting from China is delayed. So it'll be another 2 weeks probably before I get that. Look at that. There you go. So the high voltage runs to the back of the sb-220 with a gland. And then it enters inside and goes to the diode and doubler circuit. Still on a 1,000 watt dummy load. MFJ 1,000 watt dummy load. All the other crap's been taken away. I'm now fully running off my HP power supply. 12 volt, 100 amp. I turned it up a little bit just from what the settings are on it without changing anything, so I got 12.6 out of it. That's, brings this radio down to about 50 or 60 watts PEP. I added an LED to my watt meter. It used to have a little incandescent bulb, but it burned out, so I just tossed a white LED in there. Kind of wash it out the screen though. Let's see. Yeah. It looks nice in real life though. Got obviously the internal fan. I've got a little fan underneath on the pins. I've got this fan up top sucking out. I got this big 120 millimeter fan on the 200 millimeter fan on the side pulling out. Let's put this in standby. I just won't step on the pedal. So just do radio only in low PEP. There's my dead key. Audio. Audio. So, about 25 watts PEP. Almost nothing average. A couple watts. Audio. Audio. About 4 watts average. Okay. Now I will turn on my 300 in low. It's all tuned up. And it's got a dead key of about 30 watts PEP, 30 watts average. And it talks right around, 100, 150. And depending on exactly what you're saying, depends on how it bumps. But when you go give it a full audio, it's about 225 watts. But when you're talking, which is, let's be honest, that's where we're at. Everyone always says they got, I'm making this much power and that much power. Yeah, but how much is it when you're talking? Because that's what's really being broadcasted. So I figure about 100 real watts talking should be a good input. for just the driver to go into the sb-220. The sb-220 is at about 3,600 volts. Now I'll key down at 3,500 volts, 220 milliamp idle. Now I'll introduce a carrier, 490 milliamps at about 3,300, and then I'll talk. And this is talking right here, full modulation. We're getting about 600, 550, 600 milliamps at about still 33 to 32, 3,300 volts. And let's see what talking does here. And when you're just talking, you know, you're swinging right around about 1,500. Between 12 and 1,700, so we'll call that about 1,500. And we got a dead key of about 400 watts. And if you do the 1-to-4 ratio, right, we would need about 1,600 watts to get a 1-to-4 ratio. And I think that's about it right there. So on the other end, it should sound really loud with a 400 watt dead key swinging to about 1,600 watts. So this is how I'm going to run it. I think this is a good medium. You know, a lot of guys are going to crank it up and say put 500 into it and get closer to 3,000 out, but that can cause spurious emissions. And I'm on a dummy load, so it doesn't really matter. But I think this is about where, if you're going to just talk on something, you should be right there at about legal limit on 10 meters, and go from there. And I think this is a really good combination to be able to really, talk and get out. But if you really want to max it out and start yelling into it, you can sit there and really start getting about 1,800 to 1,900 watts out. Audio, and you got audio right at about 2,000. Look at the tubes. I got bottom ring red, and the one above that's orange, and one in the middle is just barely showing any color. So, oh, and I also got my 12 watt spotlight, because why not? You never know when you need to look out in the backyard and see if there's an owl eating your chickens. But now I have a 50 amp circuit coming to the bedroom with everything I need to be able to run a decent test bench. So I'm going to keep playing and keep learning and see if I can't make a 4-tube. It's going to be one of my next big projects, is make a 4-tube 3500Z box. Then maybe I can put that on high to drive it. We'll see. Out for now.